Hey guys, good morning. I got some pretty positive feedback yesterday from the video that I sent y'all that I put on YouTube about the prologue. So I'm going to do another one, and I'm going to just try to continue these whenever it, makes sense with our lessons for me to do this. So today we're going to look at pages 367 to 369 in Springboard. So if you don't have that out yet, you can go ahead and pause this video and grab those pages. We are also going to look at some journals, and maybe I'll make these two separate videos, but we're going to do our journal number 1, 2 after watching some film clips. And just to give you guys some info about the journals, don't try to work ahead in the journals because I'll send you the journal prompts for each journal response. So no worries about that. But anyway, so we're going to focus on actually starting to read the play. So Springboard has this really helpful chart right here with just some common Shakespeare words and then the translations for those words. I think one of the hardest things about reading Shakespeare is just getting past the language and just understand and recognize that reading Shakespeare in the original text is similar and almost the same as trying to read something in a foreign language when maybe you're in level 1 or 2 of that language. So if you're feeling frustrated, that's why we have the No Fear version. So I brought my No Fear version with me. This is the exact same thing that's online when I give you the links to the No Fear Shakespeare or the Spark Notes website. But online, it'll look exactly the same as this, right? Where you see we have the original Shakespeare text and then you have the translation of the text. So we do want you to try to read both of these sides as you go along because it is important to try to get familiar and used to reading the Shakespeare. Also, if you just read the translated text, you kind of miss a lot of the story, and you miss as the nerdy English teacher would say, you miss the beauty of the language and the writing. But for this Act 1, Scene 1, we're going to just focus on the Springboard text because they did a short abbreviated version. And I think it's a good way to kind of just get into the story. So you certainly don't need to memorize these words, but I think if you just kind of remember a few of them, it'll just make your reading a lot easier. I think especially these are super important. Thee, thou, thy, thine. Okay, that's just you and your. They're just speaking in second person. Hath to has, art to are. Definitely we see the word marry a lot through this, which does not mean that somebody's getting married. It just means really, it's almost like a filler word, like. There you go. So we're going to go ahead and start reading this. So this is just a short excerpt from Romeo and Juliet. So the first thing you need to understand that we kind of talked about are we have these two families, the Capulets and the Montagues. And we're going to go through actually our character map tomorrow. But Samson and Gregory are Capulets. Capulets. And then we're going to have some other characters when we turn the page that are Montagues. These characters are, gotta move some stuff. These characters are Abraham and Balthazar. Uh-oh. There we go. Montagues. Cool. So this conversation starts out where Samson says, "My naked weapon is out. Quarrel, I will back thee." So quarrel means to fight. And right here where Samson's talking about a naked weapon, he's talking about his sword. So basically he's taken his sword and he has it like ready to go. He's ready to fight. Also, Samson's indicating here, I will back thee. He's basically saying, like, if we get into a fight, I have your back. So Gregory kind of pokes fun at him a little bit with how? Turn thy back and run? Like, oh, how are you going to back me? You're going to turn and show your back and run away? So they're kind of bantering a little bit with each other back and forth. And it goes on like this. Right here we see Gregory say, no, Mary, I fear thee. So that's really, right? No, really, I'm afraid of you. Let us take the law of our sides. Let them begin. I will frown as I pass by and let them take it as they list, or like as they want. Nay, no, as they dare. I will bite my thumb at them, which is a disgrace to them if they bear it. So basically what's happening is Gregory and Samson are kind of like walking through, usually they envision it as like a marketplace or something, but Gregory and Samson are walking along and they see Abraham and Balthazar, who are part of the family that they really don't like. So they're kind of deciding how they're going to handle this when they pass each other. Like, are they going to make a face at them? Are they going to frown at them? And then Samson decides he's going to bite his thumb at them, which in Shakespearean time, this was considered like a very insulting action to do to somebody. I think you guys in modern context might be more familiar with there's a different particular finger that we use in society nowadays to indicate that you don't like someone or that you're indicating that you're angry or displeased with somebody. So back in the day, they used to use their thumb to indicate this, and they would kind of like bite their thumb at somebody else. So anyway, that's what they do to Abraham and Balthazar as they pass by. So we see Abraham say, do you bite your thumb at us, sir? Samson, I do bite my thumb, sir. Do you bite your thumb at us, sir? So then Samson turns to Gregory. That's what this aside means. Aside means kind of like to the side. So almost like a whisper. Samson turns just to Gregory and says, is the law on our side if I say yes? So basically he's trying to say, like, if I admit that I just bit my thumb at him and like I insulted him, is the law on our side or am I going to get in trouble? So Gregory's like, no, don't admit that because you'll get in trouble. So Samson says, no, sir, I do not bite my thumb at you, sir, but I bite my thumb, sir. Do you quarrel, sir? So now Gregory is starting to take it one step further. He is asking Abraham, so do you want to fight? So Abraham comes back, quarrel? No. Samson, if you do, I am for you. I serve as good a man as you. So this is where they kind of start talking about their families and the feud that is happening between the two families, the Capulets and the Montagues. So, and they're kind of starting to argue with which family is better. Okay, say better. Here comes one of my master's kinsmen. Yes, better, sir. You lie. So this is where the fight starts to escalate, right? You see. Fight escalates. Until it gets to the point where Samson actually tells them to draw or take out their swords if they are men. And then Gregory, remember thy swashing blow. So kind of like remember all your sword training. Then they actually start fighting. So the next person that comes in is Benvolio. And Benvolio is going to be one of our main characters. Benvolio is Team Montague. Benvolio tells everyone that they should part, right? Or like move away from each other. Put up your swords, you know not what you do. So he's trying to stop the fighting, right? We see this stage direction here in the italics. He actually beats down their sword. So he's trying to stop their fight from happening. But while Benvolio is trying to do this, another person enters, Tybalt, who's another one of our main characters. And Tybalt is a Capulet. Tybalt then interjects with, "What? Art thou drawn among these heartless hinds? Turn thee, Benvolio, look upon thy death." Oh, here, let me move this up. Okay, so that definitely sounds like some pretty challenging, kind of instigating statement to me. Benvolio responds back by not fighting, but saying, "I do but keep the peace. Put up thy sword or manage it to part these men with me." So Benvolio's still trying to be peaceful, right? And he's asking Tybalt also to put away his sword and to keep peace in the streets. But Tybalt comes back and says, "What? Drawn? So like you have your sword out and you talk of peace? I hate the word as I hate hell, all Montagues, and thee. Have at thee, coward." And then they fight. So just some things as we think about this. This is really kind of the most important part of the text. Just so you're clear, honestly, Samson, Gregory, Abraham, and Balthazar are not main characters, and you don't need to worry about those characters at all. Tybalt and Benvolio are two of our main characters, so we do want to spend just a second kind of thinking about them and what sort of character traits they have. So Benvolio, we can tell, now normally I would have you guys brainstorm this for me, but we can tell that Benvolio is definitely a peaceful guy, right? He's peaceful. I think we would definitely describe him as someone who tries to do the right thing. Do right thing. He's definitely kind-hearted, and we're going to see that a little more later, but I think we see it already just a little bit, right? But then on the other hand, we have Tybalt. Tybalt is not really the same type of person, okay? Tybalt is, as we would call, or as we would say, a hothead, okay? He is quick to anger. He's very aggressive, and he likes to fight. Okay. So just to kind of give you a little background into these characters and their actions and motivations. So now that we read through this, I'm just going to look at these questions real quick. So why does Benvolio fight Tybalt at the end of this scene? So we just described Benvolio as being very peaceful and kind and trying to do the right thing. So why does he give in and fight Tybalt? Well, it's interesting that, you know, Benvolio doesn't fight when everyone else is. Benvolio still doesn't fight when Tybalt kind of challenges him and threatens to kill him, right? Benvolio still is talking about peace. It's not until Tybalt calls him a coward, right? That's the thing that kind of pushes Benvolio over the edge. So even though Tybalt has threatened to kill him, everyone else is fighting. Tybalt is even insulting Benvolio, like Tybalt saying that he hates the Montagues and he hates Benvolio. It's not until Tybalt calls him a coward that he actually starts to fight. So we can just put, because Tybalt calls him a coward. Awesome. So then I want to think about, what does this scene suggest about masculinity? Well, I think just this part, where being called a coward is sort of the worst insult that someone could endure, I think that tells us a lot about the society at the time. Like, bravery, right, is really important in the society. feels, I'll say it's valued in society, right? Kind of above everything else. So even more than being kind or being intelligent, you want to be brave, right? You don't want to be seen as a coward. So I think what it's suggesting about masculinity, and also there's a part here where Samson, right? He says, draw if you be men. Oops, I kind of just drew over men, sorry. But he tells them to draw if they are men, right? So he's kind of like challenging their manhood and how they view themselves, right? So then the indication is if you don't draw your sword, if you don't fight, then you're a coward and you're not a man, right? So bravery is the thing that's valued. Bravery kind of makes a man, right? So on the opposite side, cowards are not men, right? So they take their masculinity very seriously. And the way to prove that you are a true man is to be brave, right? So to prove you are a man, you must be brave. And kind of those characteristics we saw displayed by Tybalt. So they want to be brave, they're very physical, and kind of aggressive. So those are sort of the things that it's suggesting about masculinity at the time. And then number 4, how does this opening scene help set the stage for the play? Well, it helps to set the stage for the play by showing the extent of the hatred between the Capulets and the Montagues. Right? So really the whole point of the first scene here is just to give us the background information, right? Or the exposition, right? We learned that word earlier. So this is the exposition of our play. It's giving us just the background information that we need to know to understand what will happen next. So now we really understand these families hate each other so much that when they pass by each other in the street, a fight will break out. So that's kind of all we have for our springboard portion of Romeo and Juliet today. I am going to stop this video and then just give you a short, separate explanation. Well, actually, no. I'll put it on the same video because this will only take a minute. So now that we've worked through this text, there are links on the blog and in the PowerPoint for a Zeffirelli version and a Luhrmann version of Romeo and Juliet. So let me just switch to this. So what you're going to do is compare and contrast Zeffirelli and Luhrmann. And you guys will see, definitely, as soon as you start watching, the Zeffirelli version is the traditional version. So it's going to look, maybe what people would have worn 500 years ago. They're going to be using swords. The Luhrmann version is a modernized take on Romeo and Juliet, where it is actually set in Verona Beach, out in California. So I'm going to kick us off with our first one. So the setting is Verona, Italy. This is Verona Beach. And instead of using swords, you're going to see in this version, they're using something else. I'm not going to spoil the fun. I want you to watch the film clips. So anything that you think is similar or the same between the two versions, put in the middle here. Anything where you notice differences, you want to put them on the outsides. And just to kind of give you some hints, you want to look at clothing, setting, props, so like weapons, language. Those are kind of the big ones, but anything else that you notice that falls into those categories, okay, you want to note down. All right, awesome. That is all I have for you today. So I hope you enjoy the film clips. I think both versions are really fun. Definitely, if you're interested, you can feel encouraged to rent those movies. They're available on lots of platforms, but you do have to pay for them. So I think they're on like Amazon Prime. I think it's like $2.99 or so to rent them, which, you know, if you're interested in watching them, would be excellent. But there are, you know, other kind of resources available out there for us as well. So that's all I have for you today. So you guys have a great day. Enjoy, do something outside, and I will talk to you later. Bye, guys.